Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 80. And now that we know with certainty that the Boruto time skip is happening with the next chapter, I wanted to discuss with you guys why the time skip is about to get even crazier than you would have ever imagined. And this video is coming via a patron over on my Patreon. So despite this being a Boruto chapter discussion, this will go in the Boruto fan theory playlist in order to keep it consistent. So my patron brought up a really good point, which is they believe that Boruto is going to be the reason that the new generation ends up coming out of the time skip. Absolutely busted. And his reasoning is that Boruto being a rogue ninja is going to be the catalyst for all of this. Now, I definitely agree that with this narratively, this is the likely outcome. But for full transparency, due to the fact I have a collab with King Bullet being edited, going over how strong the members of Team 7 will be coming out of the time skip, I'm not going to use the talking points that we have for that video. However, for what Black Guy is saying, I completely agree with them that we should be expecting this new generation to come out of the time skip absolutely broken. And I want to throw this out here now because I can already see people post time skip saying that the power creeps in Boruto don't make any sense. I disagree wholeheartedly with that notion for a few different reasons. Like Black Guy stated, we have a major catalyst for this new generation to begin their training. In their eyes, they're people who took in Boruto, who was an outsider, and they accepted him as one of their own, only to have that trust in him betrayed by having him kill Naruto, Hinata, and running away from the village. In their minds, he's got the karma seal of the strongest of the Otsutsuki that the village has ever faced, someone so powerful that it cost Naruto the Nine Tails. That same Naruto has in their minds been killed off. This is a generation who grew up with Kakashi as Hokage, but they trained and they became shinobi during a time when Naruto was the Hokage, and they watched Naruto, the strongest Hokage in the history of the village and the strongest Kage in the history of the Five Nations. They watched him defend the village from multiple Otsutsuki who came to attack the village. There's now a power gap that has been created in Naruto's perceived death, a power gap that they themselves will have to fill. Sasuke is now a rogue ninja in the eyes because Sasuke is assisting Boruto, the boy who everyone thinks killed Naruto. Sasuke is a person who, before Kurama's death, was the only other person strong enough to stand up to Naruto. It's not just Boruto who they have to prepare to battle, it's also the legendary Sasuke Uchiha that they have to face. That's going to lead to people like Chocho training with the intensity that is only matched by her healthy appetite for the finest foods in Konoha and the tasty foods prepared by Cook Unity, the sponsor of today's video. Listen up, ladies and fellas, it's time to soften up your tsundere heart. Cook Unity is the first chef to you meal delivery service made up of over 70 chefs who believe that good food should be for everyone, especially those of us who don't want to miss a single moment in Boruto Naruto Next Generations. Each and every week, award-winning chefs craft hundreds of globally inspired meals from vegetarian to paleo and everything in between. The food is so high quality, it's going to be satisfaction guaranteed. Meals are delivered fresh, never frozen, and the menu rotates every week, so there's always something new to try. As someone who continues to build my body back into peak form, eating meals that get my macros and micros is super important to me, but between uploading to 3 different YouTube channels, sometimes cooking is the last thing I feel like doing, which is why I love what Cook Unity offers. And most importantly, they use real ingredients, nothing artificial, with humanely raised meat and organic ingredients. And I can't even cap to you, man, Chef Lamera Davidson's chicken and dumplings was absolutely fire. I did not hesitate to share this with my best friend because, dude, this stuff is absolutely fire. This is now officially my new pre-workout meal with Chef Andres Mendez sheet pan chicken and butternut squash and apples that hit the spot as a post-workout meal. And that's not all. You also have Chef Andres Mendez chicken breast and pistachio, which, dude, you're getting 56 grams of protein with this. You're getting your protein fix easily. The meals are already made, so it was just a matter of putting them into the oven for a few minutes. This super flexible subscription allows you to pause it, skip meals, or outright cancel. You want to go to cookunity.com/Naruto or click the link in the description, and you'll want to use my promo code Naruto50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals in order to try them out yourself. Thank you again to Cook Unity for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's be super blunt here. Boruto's generation, while they are super top heavy with Team 7, a team with a Mangekyo Sharingan user, a Sage Mode user, and 2 Otsutsuki, the rest of the generation isn't anything to turn your nose up either. Some of these kids are doing things that their own parents couldn't do until the 4th Great Ninja War, which, given how long it's been since those chapters came out and since the episodes were released, the power creeps that we saw for characters during the 4th Ninja War is absolutely busted. accident is something worth reminding you. You had people like Tenten destroying Kakuzu's mask, albeit she did have the Sage of Six Paths tools, but the fact that she destroyed those masks while using tools that are literally stated to cost so much chakra to use that if a normal shinobi used them, they would just outright die. And Tenten was able to use weapons that require massive chakra reserves. That was a sign that Tenten had gotten stronger. You had Choji throwing down with the Gedo statue, and you had Ino, while she was controlling Choji's body, was showing a level of skill with taijutsu where she could slapbox with Asuma, despite Kabuto controlling Asuma's body. And it's worth noting that Ino's taijutsu went from barely at a gaining level the last time we saw her in hand-to-hand combat to being able to keep up with Asuma, a former guardian for the feudal lord of the Land of Fire, and someone who was literally considered to be a Konoha elite according to the Naruto manga. For comparison, when we see Chocho casually go into a butterfly mode and attaining the stated 100 times power increase that form gives her by default, she's doing so unassisted without the need for the Akimichi clan's food pills, something Choji needed in order to enter into until we got to the war arc in order to accomplish such a similar feat. If we look at the Naruto manga for this, all those goofy episodes that Kishimoto did scripted bullet points for, like the Chocho mini arc in the early Boruto anime where she was learning butterfly mode, to the episode where she mastered that form in order to save Anko and was able to bring out the full power. Also, she could save some sweet bean jam. It was all accumulated with her mastering that power. We saw what a petty motivation did for some of these characters like Chocho. This is the first time they have a true primal reason to evolve, where they believe their own lives are at risk and they have to grow stronger or be wiped out. Code is out there with the Ten Tails army preparing for attack, and they have Boruto and Sasuke to deal with, and there's no Naruto there to protect the village. They, for the first time in their lives, are experiencing what their parents did, which is that feeling of being in an open cold war where you don't know when your enemies will attack or what their plans are for attack, but the only thing that you can do is train and gain mission experience to combat the eventual threats coming to the village that you're charged with protecting. These kids, all of the ones we've seen in the manga, have a higher floor than the Boruto era Kages have for a ceiling. Those Kage got spooked enough by battling the Ten Tails in the Fourth Great Ninja War and seeing how three men, Madara, Obito, and Kabuto, were each stronger than 99% of the Shinobi Alliance, and then seeing 2 years later how Tenari was planning to destroy the Earth by using the Tenseigan's power to throw the moon at the Earth, and how Naruto was the only one who could stand up to him. It led to them training to get strong enough where they could gang up on people that Kaguya wrote down in her scroll by name that she was afraid of, in the form of Momoshiki and Kinshiki. These kids have a higher floor than those Kage have of a ceiling, and I do think we're going to see them reach that potential right before our very eyes when we come out this time skip. This is going to be something that's needed purely for the fact that we're in a situation where these kids are going to have to thrust full forward into the center when it comes to conflict. Obviously, nobody's expecting them to be able to throw hands with Boruto and eventually Kawaki, maybe base Boruto or base Karma Boruto, but not True Essence Boruto, True Essence Kawaki. But them getting strong enough to take down Ten Tails soldiers will be a large sign of their power increase. While we don't know how strong these Ten Tails soldiers are, or the Claw Grimes as Code likes to name them, which is the worst name ever, if we go with the idea that they're in the same realm of power as the Ten Tails clones that were made in the war, we have a pretty good baseline for how strong they've gotten, unless we get a statement that each of these Claw Grimes are as strong as the actual Ten Tails. We can get a more accurate measure of their power, and I think that this is something that spells out really big news for the story, because it shows that Naruto was right when he told the Boruto era Kages that from what he saw from this younger generation in Konoha, while they might be soft, they have the potential to surpass each Kage that Naruto was sitting in the room with, because Naruto understood if these kids are getting this strong by playing training games with their parents, when they really get pressured and they have to train for real, they're gonna absolutely explode. While I personally think that we'll be seeing what Kishimoto did in Naruto, which is essentially, while we will see Boruto and Kawaki grow at an alarming rate to a point where Sarada and Mitsuki's growth is going to be overlooked by fans, The same way that Naruto and Sasuke's alarming growth in part 2 made people overlook how strong Kakashi and Sakura and Might Guy were getting throughout part 2. If you read the story closely, you can see what I mean, until we got to the final arc, which led to a lot of people saying, how'd they get this strong? War power scaling's busted, when it really isn't if you read things slowly and pay attention. I do think one person who we absolutely have to keep our eyes on is Himawari. I think she is going to be the one character besides Team 10 who will get their shine. Team 10 in Naruto's manga, after Kishimoto focused so heavily on the duo of Naruto and Sasuke, that team continued to get an arc sprinkled into the narrative of the story, and it peaked in the 4th Great Ninja War. Boruto era Team 10 will likely get that same treatment, but Himawari is the one that I think has the chance out of everyone in Boruto's generation, which is a reminder, Himawari is only 2 years younger than Boruto. Himawari has a chance to steal the thunder from everybody else in this generation and be one of the people out this generation who comes out with a shocking power-up and character arc throughout the events of Naruto Part 2. My logic for this is pretty simple. Boruto Part 1 was the story of father and son, covering the theme of parents and children. Part 2 of Boruto's story is actually Boruto's story, but I still expect those narratives of parents and children to be at play in Part 2. It's only right that we build on that by having Himawari and Boruto and Kawaki have a plot arc that's interconnected, because they're all connected to Naruto. The biological parent for Boruto Himawari and the adopted parent for Kawaki. Seeing Himawari gain power and use those events to level up, and then the dynamic between her fake brother Kawaki and her real brother Boruto, who she likely ends up confronting, and seeing that get resolved, is going to be something that highlights the most of how much Boruto leaving changed his generation in a different but similar way that Naruto leaving inspired his generation to get stronger. The approach is different, but the results are lining up to be the same, which is why I find it so odd people say Boruto's manga doesn't continue with the concepts that we saw in the Naruto manga, when we're literally seeing the good and the bad from the original Naruto manga being carried over and built upon. I do wonder though, which of these members out of Boruto's generation do you guys think has the highest potential now that Boruto's gone rogue? And who do you think is going to be the sleeper we have to keep our eyes on?